stuff on camera.
Well, it's connecting now, so we're about to be in. It's connecting right now.
Are you on Twitch?
YouTube.
Oh,
Turn on Do Not Disturb because all these tweets keep coming in.
oh, Jakey. I think I listened to Seven Summers probably 7 times in a row.
There we go.
Bro, you have to. Listening to
Dude, I
country
literally,
music in winter is like amazing.
dude, it's like
Uh,
it makes me like want to it's making me excited for like springtime and warm weather. Like I'm like listening to that. I'm actually happy.
Dude,
we are
it's
officially
such a
live
good feeling.
right now. We are officially
Can you
live.
see our viewers on YouTube or no?
Uh, yeah, and I'm probably one of them. I tagged you all on Instagram, so you all can share that if you want. So through the Inside the Dome. I don't know how many people we're gonna get because we kind of did it
Is there a
so late.
link?
Yeah.
Where's the link at?
It's in the what I tagged you in.
On Instagram?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I posted that we were doing this like an hour ago. So, not sure what we're gonna get. But
I just need the link.
yeah. It's
That's
really
the
just the Inside the Dome YouTube. Wow, this is crazy. I am on my TV right now. That is
I'm
insane.
about to put it on mine.
But I shared it.
I'm trying to.
Got 3 concurrent viewers. Don't know who they all are, but we're gonna start in a few minutes. I'll kind of
Yep.
start it off the podcast intro because I am going to edit this into the podcast that I will drop tomorrow. So, yeah, we'll give it a few minutes. I'd say around 8:05, 8:06, we'll kind of start the quote unquote episode talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers because, God, this Steeler team, ugh, we're going to break it all down. Oh, my God.
I just
Thank
sent it in
God.
my chat.
What happened?
I just sent it to my chat, so we'll see if some guys join.
Bet. Awesome. Yeah, it's up and running on YouTube right now. That's insane. I see right now on the screen, I see Carlin's hair because he's looking down at that moment. That's so funny. Oh, my. Beautiful. Our evaluation of Pitts. This is episode 249 when it comes out tomorrow. That is crazy.
One away from 250.
One away, and that episode will be dropping on Friday, 250. Steeler episode is going to drop literally tomorrow morning. I'm gonna edit out because once this live stream ends, I will have access to all of this. I'm gonna have to cut out the first 5 minutes, throw the intro in, all that, and edit it. But we'll give it about 1 more minute. Then we're gonna just start talking. People can join in and watch. You can comment as well. I do not care. We will, if you comment anything Steeler related, we might mention it or respond to it. But yeah, we'll give it about 1 more minute or so. Jakey, have you shared that we are live? You have. Good job. I'm proud of you. Before we start, the Bears have completed an interview with head coach candidate Mike McCarthy. Whoa. That'd be hilarious if they signed him. I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, who was it? I saw. Was it Pat McAfee who posted about how that there's like he was talking that like, oh, if Mike McCarthy I got to the Steelers and became the new offensive coordinator, and then you could get Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback, and I'm just no, just no.
We got one comment saying "Go Lions." I think we all picked the Lions to beat the Commanders in our latest episode. So,
Oh, you can see
That's
the live
Aiden.
stream chat.
That was
Yeah.
Aiden.
Shout out to Aiden.
Dude.
What's up, big dog?
Big shout out. Like that.
Bro, Aiden, bro, that picture.
That's crazy. All right, we're gonna start technically the episode at 8:06. I'm going to do the intro, and we'll technically be in the podcast at that point. So let's go.
Bang out.
About 15 seconds or so. Then we're going to get into the content. Be ready. We're about to rip this Pittsburgh Steeler team. Oh my God. This has been. We were supposed to do this a while back, but we delayed it. Tomlin has not been fired. But it's 8:06. We are going to officially start the quote unquote episode here. So, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody, to a very special episode here of Inside the Dome, where we are live streaming this on YouTube at the same time. This episode will also be out in podcast format on Thursday. So this is very epic for us right here. The first time we're ever doing a live stream. I can't believe it's actually happening after months and months of saying it. If you're watching on YouTube, hello, everybody. If you're listening on the podcast format, hello. I am John Dodero, and I'm joined with Carlin Jacob and Dan Smith. Both are here today to essentially rip into this Pittsburgh Steelers team. We have not talked about them much since their loss to the Baltimore Ravens. This is where we are going to do it. If you are watching on YouTube and you want to join the conversation, we will only respond if you say anything Steeler related that we can respond to. If it's anything else, we are not going to respond in this episode part, just so you all know. But Carlin, Dan, we watched a Steeler game happen last Saturday against the Baltimore Ravens. 28-14, absolute garbage performance. We've talked a bit about it. I just want to get your guys' thoughts right out of the gate. General thoughts after watching that Steeler game happen. What did you guys think? Anybody can go first. What did you think after watching that game? Very broadly.
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys actually have been very quiet technically about your opinion about the Steelers, except more so Dan. Sean, you can tweet, obviously, so you've been tweeting. I've made TikTok videos about it. Granted, that hope that does not go away, but I've been half vocal about it, and I've been also been like, all right, what's the public thinking? We did a public poll, which we're gonna get into about that in a little bit later. But that team did not look like they wanted to play in the playoffs. They looked like they were out of it. The first 5 minutes, you could say, okay, that team doesn't want to be there. Just call it a loss and get out of here. And once the Ravens went up, I think 28-0 or 21. Was it 21-7 going into half? What was it going to half?
Going into half, that is a good question. Wasn't close. I think they scored. I think it was 21-7 going into half. Something like that. It was, and then the Ravens got the ball to go into the second half.
Yeah, not too good. Yeah, I just looked at this team. I was like, they don't want to play. And my one friend called me. He literally said, Carlin, they did pass, run. They didn't do run, pass. And I mean, obviously, you get what you get. But yeah, I didn't expect much more. Russell Wilson went 20 for 29, which I actually thought he did a lot worse than that. But
ugh.
Yeah, I literally didn't expect much from this game. The only chance I thought of us having a win coming into this game was the fact that it was a division game. And yeah, that didn't work out. What about you, Dan?
Well, I'm just pretty just embarrassed. I as someone who talks big of the Steelers, and a lot of people who know me know this well. I talk very highly of this team whenever they're up and whenever they're down. And man, they just whenever they were up and they were like 10-2, 10-3, whatever. Like I'm saying, like this is the year. Like we finally got the pieces right. Everything is clicking. We're going to the AFC Championship. We're going to the Super Bowl. It's all lining up perfect. I'm talking a big game, and then we lose 6 in a row here. It's disappointing. It's frustrating. And at this point, I'm sure we're going to touch base on this, but for the common fans, you guys, well, actually not for the common fans, but more so the Steeler fans, we can all agree that there have been changes made in the past. But the problem is that there's changes there's changes in the right direction and the right direction. We made a lot of changes, but there's certain things that have stayed the same over the years. And if we're changing things and we're getting the same result, the things that are remaining the same might be the problem. So we got to look ourselves in the mirror and kind of pinpoint out what exactly is the issue and what can we do moving forward to improve from losing 6 games in a row and becoming first round exits.
Well, there's one thing that hasn't changed. 2 words. Mike Tomlin has not changed. Over the years, he has been the longest tenured NFL coach right now. He has been the longest tenured head coach. John Harbaugh is number 2 right now, and he is doing way better right now than Mike Tomlin. This stretch from the Pittsburgh Steelers has been absolute garbage. Ever since they finished that little Browns-Bengals little back and forth, lost to the Browns and beat the Bengals and beat the Browns again. Ever since that, they had a gauntlet stretch where this team would have been faced to test whether they were legit Super Bowl contenders or if they were frauds. Here's how it went. Very simply, got killed by the Eagles 27-13, got killed by the Ravens 30-17, got killed by the Chiefs, which Carla and I were there in attendance, 29-10, and then lose to the Bengals 19-17 in absolutely embarrassing fashion. We were ready to do this episode after that game, after that Bengals Steeler game, because we've seen enough at that point. Russell Wilson was not it. He was not the answer. The running game was struggling. They were struggling to get George Pickens involved in that Bengals game. He had 1 catch for 0 yards. He couldn't do anything. So we were ready to make this episode right there and then. But Carlin told me, just wait it out. Maybe they could beat the Ravens at this point. Maybe they can go on a Super Bowl run and we'd have to take back everything we said. Nope. We could have done that episode a week ago because nothing changed against the Ravens. Nothing. 28-14. George Pickens had a touchdown in garbage time. The game was kind of over at that point. Russell Wilson, statistically, looked good. Statistically, but the majority of his stats came in the second half when the game was essentially over because the Steeler defense couldn't stop Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. Couldn't do it. Defense sucked. Highest paid defense in the NFL. TJ Watt couldn't do a thing. Russell Wilson, we're going to talk about if we think he's the answer or not. He should not be the starting quarterback on this team next season. He should not be. If he wants to resign, fine. Be a backup. I don't care. Justin Fields needs to be the starter. They used him on 1 run, but he didn't run it. He handed it off. And then he threw an incompletion. They did not utilize him. There are discussions that are rumors online that Arthur Smith and Russell Wilson didn't have a great relationship or something like that. They didn't work well together. Arthur Smith is interviewing for head coaching positions, which is absolutely hilarious. I don't know why. So maybe he won't be on the team, which we're going to talk about what this team is going to look like next season. But how do you fix this team? If you're Omar Khan, how do you fix this team? And let's just start with the biggest thing. Mike Tomlin has not been fired yet. He has not been fired. We don't think he is going to be fired. Do you think he should be fired? Let me just ask that. Anybody can answer first. Do you think he should be fired?
Carlin, you want to go first? You want me to go first? Me? All right. Look. All right. So there's a lot of stats out there about his head coaches coming into the league and getting more playoff wins than him in the last X amount of years, or however many he's had in his career, right? Like Sean McVay. Look, I'm tired of the losing season argument because it's mediocrity every year, right? We're making changes everywhere around the ball and the only thing that's staying constant is the head coach. Mike Tomlin is constant throughout all of these years. Throughout, I'm not even worried about past 2016. I'm talking about from now on, 2016 until now, this playoff win drought that we've had for 8, 9 years. It's unbelievable. And the only thing that stayed the same, truly, is pretty much Tomlin. And sure, like position coach changes have been made as well, but the problem is that Tomlin is hiring these guys. So if we're not getting the right guy to coach the running backs, we're not getting the right guy to coach the O line, which is a problem, and he should be fired. O line coach should be gone. Wide receivers coach, he should be gone. Like there's a lot of we get to hold positional coaches like more accountable, in my opinion. And Tomlin's the guy that brings those guys, and he's the guy that interviews them. And the guy that's in charge of Mike Tomlin doing that is Omar. And Omar has proven a good bit in the past 2 drafts, I'd say. And I've liked what he's done in the drafts. But at some point, he's gonna pull up his pants a little bit and be like, "Look, like Tomlin, like coach, like you got to figure something out here because I mean it's the same result every year. I know Omar wants a Super Bowl badly; he's chasing it, and it's not like Tomlin's not either. But the fact that we're just going 9-8 and 10-7, I mean, I think if he goes and coaches like another team like Carolina, for example, I think they're going to struggle. He's going to have a losing season. But here, I don't think I think his time is up. I don't really want him anymore.
All right, raise your hand if Mike Tomlin gone.
What'd you say?
Raise your
Raise your hand
hand.
if you want Mike Tomlin gone.
Well, I haven't
If you
had
want
that.
him gone.
If you want
Well,
him fired.
Dan just said he does.
So Dan, me, John.
I can't take it anymore. I can't do it.
I'll say my thoughts in a second.
Ooh, okay, so here's my thoughts. Okay, I just asked my father something because I saw this on the radio the other day, or somewhere on the internet, and the guy basically goes saying that this happened with Cowher, the same thing that happened with Tomlin. Like Cowher couldn't win the big games, and people wanted him fired. Now, granted, here's the thing: when he won the Super Bowl, we were 3 years old or 2 years old. We don't remember when Cowher won the Super Bowl. We were barely alive. And then when they won in 2008 with Tomlin's team, it was Cowher's team. Okay. Let's put it that way. But here's what the internet thinks. I did a poll on TikTok the other day.
Rip TikTok.
Please
Same.
rip TikTok. Hopefully it doesn't go away. Here's the final vote when we are recording this live stream or on wherever you listen to your podcast.
We have a chat, by the way.
220 people do not want Tomlin fired. 390 people want Tomlin fired. And here's the thing. If you go to that TikTok, you can sit there and read the comments up and down. People say it's time for change. And then people also say that if you think Tomlin should be fired, then you do not know sports. And there are so many up and down arguments with the thing. But one thing remains clear. And here's where I stand. I think he should go. I think we need some sort of change. And I have 2 opinions on this. First things first. There are teams out there like the Chicago Bears, the Carolina Panthers, the Cleveland Browns, the New York Giants. Or there are teams out there that would kill for a coach like Mike Tomlin and go to 9-8 every year and have a winning season. Okay. But we're in a consistent loop right now where all we're doing is winning and missing the playoffs or barely making the playoffs and getting our ass whooped by Kansas City or Buffalo or Baltimore. That's just the constant that keeps happening. And there, like I said, there are teams that are killing for 9-8. But then it also goes to this. Would you rather keep going 9-8 with Tomlin for 10 years? Let's say they keep him around for 10 more years and they always go 9-8, 10-7, 11-6, but they can't win the big games. Tomlin retires, and then you're stuck in more drought of trying to win the Super Bowl again and rebuild your franchise. Or would you rather ship him off now and try again? Because here's the thing. If you ship him off now, you could send him to Carolina, and he could be fantastic and take that team to a Super Bowl. And all of us Steeler fans are going to regret saying, bye, Mike Tomlin. Or ship him to Carolina. Mike Tomlin sucks at Carolina and retires. there's so many things that could happen. And another argument I saw is the quarterback, which I feel like we can have a whole conversation about the quarterback situation in a little bit. But people are saying Tomlin hasn't had a good quarterback since Big Ben. Well, Big Ben retired in 2021. He threw for over 500 yards in that Cleveland Browns game that they lost that playoff game, mind you. But the last time they won a playoff game was in 2016 against the Kansas City Chiefs. I remember watching that game. The game got delayed a day because of the weather in Kansas City, and we beat Kansas City with field goals. After that year was the Jacksonville Jaguars era with Blake Bortles, and that whole team ran over the Steelers in the playoffs. And that was the Killer B era. Tomlin didn't do anything with the team. So many arguments to be made, but it's hard to say, like, get rid of Tomlin. Like, goodbye. Go to Carolina. But then if he goes to Carolina and he kills it in Carolina and makes that team a championship team, you're going to regret it. You don't know until you make a move. And also, one more thing is I'm going to say before I stop rambling because someone else needs to talk. Y'all have a little...
Well,
bro, he's like recording underground or something. His connection is atrocious. He's like recording in a cornfield.
I don't...
Dude, oh my God.
Right? But
oh God. I do want to respond to this wild guy. I don't know if he's still in here. I was
about to mention it real quick. I'll do it because it's going to segue into what I'm going to say. Comment we got on YouTube: Smith wanted Fields, Arthur Smith. Tomlin wanted Wilson. So Wilson faked his calf injury. I don't know if that's true. Did he fake it?
I don't know either. I don't think.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, after 6 games, Tomlin pulled the plug on Fields. Major diss to Fields and Smith. That's why Smith is. I
agree with the diss. I think that is a diss to Fields, though. But I don't.
It is a diss to Fields, I would say, because Fields.
Come on, like
Fields was 4-2, so like I could see that being a diss to Fields. Like I don't think Fields earned to lose the starting job. I don't know if there's that much controversy with Smith and all that. I mean, Arthur Smith was a head coach, so teams are going to look at him. I don't know why they would even want to sign him, but that's interesting. Here's the thing too. Like Tomlin never had a losing season. Probably when this team was 10-3, he was probably in the odds to win Coach of the Year at that point, and then this happened. I think it's time to move on. That's my opinion. I think it's time to move on.
There it is. I mean, like, come on, dude.
First off, Carlin, you said trade him to Carolina. They already got Dave Canales. They're not gonna.
All right. Okay. Can we? Okay. We're not trading him. We're not trading him. It's like it ain't gonna happen.
I was reading one thing. They could mutually agree to a trade. Like if Tomlin decides, like for the betterment of the team, because he's still under contract, they could trade him for a first-round pick.
I think Tomlin thinks the betterment of the team is in his hands. He doesn't want to leave, and to be honest with you, he's going to retire before he goes somewhere else. Let's be honest here.
Tomlin also has a no-trade clause,
so which is why they would
asking him.
Yeah, that's the thing. They would have to mutually agree to a trade if that was the case. But here's the thing too: like last year, you got killed by Buffalo. Big Ben's last year, you got killed by Kansas City. Like it was like such a huge way how we go into the playoffs, and we got killed by Kansas City. This year, we go up against Baltimore, and we just get embarrassed. I love Tomlin. I love everything he's done. Probably a Hall of Famer, all of that.
Oh, definitely.
But sometimes you need a fresh start. Sometimes you just need it. Even if it's a 1-year rebuild or something like that, just 1 year of getting assets so you can get that quarterback. Sometimes that's all it takes. Look at Washington right now. Look at that. Like, they were a playoff team 1 year with Taylor Heinicke. Then they had a few years of a drought in a way, and they got the second overall pick, got Jaden Daniels, a new head coach, and look at them. They advanced to the second round of the playoffs, just like that. In all the sports, football is the easiest sport to rebuild because those first-round picks you get could be stars. They can be game changers in year one. In baseball, they're not year one game changers. In hockey, they're not year one game changers. Basketball, unless you're probably like the top pick or something like that, you're probably not a game changer. In the NFL, if you get 3 first-round picks, like one of those could have the impact of TJ Watt, for example. If you got, if you, hypothetically, if you traded people for this upcoming draft and you had like a top 5 pick and you got Abdul Carter, he could like slowly get to that replication of TJ Watt. I think like he can have that kind of an impact. You can find rookies that quickly with that impact, which is what we are going to talk about in a bit in terms of trading people or not, because I think this team needs to go through a slight rebuild. I think they do. I honestly think they do, because right now, the team on paper, and we're going to look at the team on paper, it's not working one bit. This team on paper is not working. You got guys like TJ Watt, great players, but they're starting to exit their prime, I would say. TJ Watt is 30 years old at this point, had a good season, not his greatest season. He had 11 and a half sacks, still pretty good, 6 forced fumbles, which is up there at the top of the NFL, but he's 30. You're exiting his prime. It might be start to look at trades. I just don't see this team. I don't think this team is like 1 or 2 pieces away. I don't. I don't know if they're going to get the quarterback situation fixed this offseason. It's probably going to be either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields as the starting quarterback for the team next season. This team, at least at a minimum, needs a franchise quarterback. I don't think they're a receiver away. I don't think they're a corner away. I think they are a great quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl and a head coach that can hire good coordinators, because right now Terrell Austin is not the answer. Arthur Smith, improvement over Matt Canada, maybe an improvement over Randy Fichtner, who was terrible. Maybe. But it's not good enough. This team is not good enough. You look at Detroit, Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, great coordinators. That team could go win a Super Bowl. Chiefs, Andy Reid, Matt Nagy's not really much of a factor. Their defensive coordinator's great. Good coordinators can win titles. That's the thing. This team doesn't have that. So I just don't see it with this current group. This team has 2 options. Either option A, they stay on course, they don't make any big trades, they don't tank, they try to sign free agents, and they go into the draft, maybe get a wide receiver, rock with Wilson and Fields again, stay on path. Option 2, they essentially either rebuild or retool, trade TJ Watt and others, get picks, and probably not win the Super Bowl next season, but maybe the season after they'll be in better shape, and probably fire Tomlin in option 2. I think this team has essentially said they're going option 1. They're not firing Tomlin at this point, and they're just going to try again. I don't want to watch them try again. I don't. I'm tired of watching them try again. I really am. But I don't know. Do you guys see any possibility of a rebuild happening this season?
No.
Not
Nope.
one chance.
I think, dude, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be so real here. We started this episode talking about Tomlin and whether we want him to stay or whether we want him gone. Let's just be honest with ourselves here. Let's be honest. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. We gotta put our head down and suffer. I mean, I'm serious. I think it's best, even if he does say like what Carlin said, even if he does go to Carolina and he shines, or if he goes to Chicago and he shines. I think a clean slate is what the organization needs. It's what the fans need. It's what the locker room needs. The media was affecting the locker room. We just need to start over. I'm tired. I'm tired of the same thing. 9-8, 20th pick in the draft. I'd like to spice it up a little bit. I think trading TJ Watt now is a good idea. As much as I love him, he's a game changer. We win games whenever he's playing. I think his prime is starting to fade away. And I think we can go get a young guy in the draft like Abdul Carter. We can probably get 2, maybe 3 firsts for him, but definitely 2. There's guys we're just not I don't think we're as hungry as we can be. What's up? What's up, Jakey?
I want to say something because I don't know if you heard what I said last time. We're gonna retry saying this again. I said you guys have a little too much faith in Omar. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying he's great. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's horrible. I'm not saying he's fantastic. I have really no full opinion on him yet. He's made good picks. It's not like he hasn't. But also, look at the wide receiver we got when we had to get a wide receiver. We almost had Brandon Ayuk, and that fell through because of Brandon Ayuk specifically. Who we get? We got Mike Williams. I just don't see Omar trading up. What we need to do is trade up and trade guys away to at least better a team and get a quarterback or a Joe Carter, someone. But we're stuck at whatever position where we'll say we're at 19, 20.
We're at 20. We have what, 21, I think.
21. Yeah,
Yeah, we have 21.
So we're at 21. Are we really going to trade up?
Shocker.
Are we really going to trade up?
I don't think Omar's ever traded up. The last time we traded up was for Devin Bush at number 10, but I think that was Kevin Colbert.
I think we traded to get Broderick Jones. I think we jumped a team. to get I think we jumped the Jets.
But it wasn't significant. Like jumping a spot, I mean.
You know, last thing I want to say, you know the last time we had a first overall pick in the draft?
Was it like
Oh, first overall. I thought you said first round.
Was it
one was
Terry Bradshaw?
It's Terry Bradshaw. It was the last time we had the first overall pick in the draft. Now, that's not saying you don't have to tank and get the first overall pick, but I'm saying we haven't had a top pick since, I think, Big Ben. Like that high of a pick. Obviously,
I'm just exactly.
Overall, but
I think we got a clean slate, man.
That's why I keep saying you guys have too much faith in Omar. Because he hasn't shown me enough that they can actually change things with this team. And also,
he's like 3 years in.
I know, but he hasn't done much yet.
I know. I agree with that. I do agree with that. But that does fall a little bit on Art Rooney.
That's the other thing too. Is my grandfather said Art Rooney is a little bit in there too.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And the other thing is too. This isn't really a quarterback draft. This isn't. There's like 2 Cam Ward, Jador Sanders. And maybe
it's like a running back draft, pretty much.
Yeah, there's not quarterbacks. This isn't the quarterback draft. So this is a draft you have to go get a quarterback. You can go get more position players and stick with Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, which we'll get to. But when that does come, and let's say we get back to 21 next year, and that's the quarterback draft. Look at Lamar Jackson. He went last. Yeah, but you have to go find those guys.
I love Carlin's connection.
Well, okay. I'm going to say the chances of you going out and finding a Lamar Jackson, a Patrick Mahomes, a Josh Allen, I would even say Jalen Hurts is in that tier.
Well, no. The thing I said is Tomlin said Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson were drafted towards the end of the draft in round 1.
I don't care what Tomlin says because I want him gone. Screw him.
I agree.
Yeah. Here's the thing I'll say my thing about Omar, and then you can kind of look at positional things, and that's how we'll end the episode. Omar has done great, I think, because for the past 2 seasons or so, it's been a pro Mike Tomlin environment in a way. Some people have wanted him fired, but I think a lot of the fan base has been on his side. So the team would not consider tanking or anything like that. I think after this offseason, I've seen a lot more fire Tomlin people out there. I think that's kind of starting to become the norm, and it's scary because it could get to the point next season where you go to games. I know, Carlin, you got like season tickets, and after certain like blowout losses, people are going to start chanting "Fire Tomlin." Like it was "Fire Matt Canada" the previous year. You heard those chances. I think the fan base is going to start to get really impatient, and the fact that Tomlin is staying, I think that's going to start to happen. Now, I don't think Omar's done anything that wrong so far. He's made a lot of great moves. Like the Mike Williams trade was great, but Mike Tomlin, it comes down to Mike Tomlin for how they use him, and it wasn't a lot. Roman Wilson was a good pick at the time in the 3rd round. In the 3rd round, it's not a bad pick, but doesn't get used at all whatsoever. Troy Fautanu gets drafted in the 1st round. It's a good pick, gets injured, so it's not his fault. He's made a lot of great moves, in my opinion. I don't think he's had a bad draft yet either, but now we're getting to the point, either keep it going or tank, and that's up to Omar Khan. This draft is going to be huge for him. It is. For this free agency is going to be huge for him. We're going to be judging him the whole way at this point. And I don't think he's going to tank this season. I think I've just got that clear. I don't think he's going to tank this season.
We're going 9-8, 10-7. Let's just tell it how it is. Tomlin's not going anywhere. We're gonna have a solid draft, probably like a B plus draft, and we're not gonna make any big moves in free agency. Like let's just tell it how it is. Tomlin's not going anywhere for, I'm gonna be honest, probably 3 years. After 3 years, if we still go 9-8, 10-7, dude, people are gonna stop showing up to games.
I would say, here's my hot take. I actually do think now there's more pressure than before. I think there is now, because I think there are more Fire Tomlin people out there now than
that
pro
puts
Tomlin
pressure
people.
on Omar Khan.
It does. So I think of this season as if it's another 9-8, if they get blown out in the playoffs, or if they miss the playoffs, I think Tomlin 100% gets fired next season. I think, especially, like I said, if the fans are chanting Fire Tomlin after losses to the Ravens at home or anything like that, I think the mood could shift far enough where, like, there's legit pressure now. There is a legitimate pressure. I think it could happen sooner than later. So
There's a lot of great things about Tomlin. There really is. And I don't understand it, because players preach all the time like there's like one coach they always want to play for, and it's Mike T. Like Micah Parsons is saying today that Steeler fans are delusional for wanting him gone. But the only argument he has is the losing season. That's like, I don't understand how these pro Tomlin people are just justifying being mediocre every year. The only thing they can say is the losing season record. That's it. That's it. A clean slate's what we need, point blank. And it's just like, I think we all can agree. We need a clean slate. OC, DC, head coach, make some changes on both sides of the ball, keep some position coaches like Danny Smith has done a fantastic job. Eddie Faulkner, I mean, like, okay, but like we got like quarterback coach, like O-line, we got to replace some guys. Like, but we got to, but we ain't going to. Let's just move on at this point.
We're not. I don't see it. One thing I saw online too, somebody said that's pretty good. The Steelers are in probably the worst position in football because we're not bad enough to get high picks in the draft, but we're not good enough to win a Super Bowl. So we're just in that very in the middle road where, like, it looks good, you're having good seasons, but you're not having great seasons. So then you got people supporting Tomlin. Tomlin looks like a great coach because of the good seasons, but you don't get Super Bowls out of these seasons. You don't.
Would you rather have 2 to 3 consistent 9-8 seasons, or 2 to 3 consistent 4-13 seasons?
I think this team might need some 4-13 seasons.
Well, that's the other thing people keep saying online. You don't get how lucky you are. Like, Tomlin's
I hate that. I hate that.
It? And I said, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We're not relevant in the NFL. We're not. And yes, I know my connections suck. I don't know why I think so.
Dude, you are like, you need like an Ethernet cable or something. Like, you're struggling.
I think on the podcast form it'll turn out better, but it might just be YouTube.
Yeah, I believe so too. But yeah, we're not going anywhere. People said great coaches are hard to come by, but also, like, you're never going to know until you let go of Tomlin.
Yeah, it's just time for a change. It's time for a change.
Also,
Ben Johnson would be perfect, I think. I would love him.
If the Lions don't win the Super Bowl, theoretically, would Ben Johnson leave still?
I think he could. He's really looking at teams right now. Like, he's really looking Raiders, for example. Like, I think he could. And I wish they would fire Tomlin sooner than later, so Ben Johnson could be interested in the Steelers. But
he won't come here.
I don't know.
The big one I saw was the Raiders.
Yeah. They don't have a quarterback yet, though. That's the thing.
We
That's what I heard.
need. Here's the thing, and I want to hear you guys' opinion on this. One, we need an offensive head coach. Defensive head coaches don't win in this league right now. We need an offensive minded head coach. And second off, the way that the National Football League is now, all you need is good a decent defense. You don't need the highest paid defense in the league. You don't need a stud defense. Look at Cincinnati. They're so hot right now. Their offense, they can score everywhere. They're remarkable. And their defense is not decent. They're worse than decent. But if you have just a decent defense, you can score in this league. That's what it is, in my opinion. I think you need to load up on offense like Cincinnati does and have just a decent, good defense.
Yeah. Little comment that we got. Thanks, Dad. Great coaches have great staffs. Who is the last Tomlin assistant that left to be a head coach elsewhere? Answer might be Arthur Smith in a few weeks. Who knows? Other than that, I couldn't tell you. Yeah,
He has no one.
That's what I was saying, man. That's what I was saying.
Even I was talking about yesterday. Sean McVay has 8 playoff wins since joining the league, and I think when Sean McVay joined, that was the last time Tomlin got a win.
Yeah, and Sean McVay actually has had a coaching tree as well, so he's been a great coach overall. So I just don't see with Tomlin. We could kick that forever, but let's just, for the rest of this episode, assume he's the head coach at this point. How does this team look next season? And right now,
should we do it what we think, or what we think it's going to be, or like what we want, or what we want? So what we want, or what we think it's going to be? Okay,
what we want. So real quick, here are the key free agents this offseason for the Steelers: Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Najee Harris, Dan Moore, Dante Jackson, Mike Williams, Van Jefferson, Landon Roberts, James Daniels, DeMonte Casey, McCole Pruitt, Cam Sutton, CJ Henderson, who is a corner, and guard Nate Herbig. Those are the free agents. So I think you and I, Dan, have done this kind of before in the past. We're going to kind of do it quickly here. We're going to look through the positions and just say what we think it should look like next season, very briefly. Starting with quarterback, both of them are free agents, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And right now, according to ESPN, our 4th string quarterback is Skylar Thompson from the Miami Dolphins.
I don't care. It's over. It's screw this team.
All right. What do you think they should do? Keep Russ, keep Fields, get rid of them both? What do you think?
I think you let Russ walk. I'm all for having a veteran in a quarterback room. But the thing is that Russell Wilson wants to play, and I don't think that he should play here. I mean, I'd be okay if he sat behind Justin Fields for the season, unless Fields is playing terrible. But we need to sign Fields. I think Fields he's young, he's ready to learn, he's hungry. I think he's good enough, and I think with the right weapons around him, he can be a good quarterback. I think that we need to re-sign him. I mean, let's face it, Russ isn't going to take a vet minimum again. He wants to play football, so he's going to end up going elsewhere. But we need to have Fields, and we need to acquire a veteran of some type. And I've seen a lot of rumors about Sam Darnold being a Pittsburgh Steeler. I'll tell you that.
No.
I've seen a lot. We can't pay him the money he wants. We just need to sign Fields, man.
God, no. Carlin, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it should be Fields. Let Russ walk, obviously. Let him play somewhere else. I really could care less. You got to go get another quarterback in the draft at least, whether a late round guy. I wouldn't even use a late round pick on like Carson Beck or like I don't know, just like a random guy. Like I wouldn't even use it.
Garrett Green.
You need to get a quarterback somewhere. Because Skylar Thompson's not going to be it.
Well, he's the 4th string for a reason. That's why we're saying get a veteran to sit behind Fields.
Yeah. So who's that going to be? I hope it's not Aaron Rodgers. Because I've seen that around.
I
No.
don't know.
No.
If he's going anywhere, he's starting. If he's going anywhere, he's starting. I mean, that's
Let me just say this. I think the starting quarterback is either going to be Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, one or the other. I don't see it being a Sam Darnold or anybody like that. They shouldn't do that. I'd sign Fields to a 1-year deal, $10 million, same exact deal that Sam Darnold got. That was a prove-it deal. You can be the starter, but your future is not guaranteed with the team. I would do that deal. Russell Wilson is going to want like at least $30 million, I bet, per year. Don't pay him that because he should not be the starter. If he is the starter, I will have no faith in this season. I will have no faith whatsoever. I don't care what else they do. Justin Fields should be the starter. If he does great, that's great. He could be your franchise guy. If he sucks, next year's draft class, a whole lot better. Look there. And hopefully their record is not 9-8. I would start Fields. And like Dan said, sign a backup. Running back, Najee Harris is a free agent. They don't have to sign him. They declined his 5th-year option. Jalen Warren is still signed. Cordell Patterson, Aaron Shamplin is the 4th string. I'll go first. I think you let Najee Harris walk. Now, the running back class is loaded, but they did lose Nick Singleton and Katron Allen in that running back class because both are going back to Penn State next season. But both Ohio State running backs should be available. Ashton Genty, Cam Scattaboo, North Carolina has a good running back as well. A lot of great running backs in this draft. Even Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State, who regressed. I think that was more of a team thing. He could be a great option, too. I think he can get a little revival in the NFL. There's a lot of great options at running back. You draft one in the 3rd round, I think you're okay with him and Jalen Warren, who Jalen Warren could be the starter. But if you want to pay Najee, it might be $7 to $8 million per season. I don't think you do that. I think you go cheaper at running back. And if Jalen Warren is the starter, that's still fine. Your running back can be the backup, the guy you draft. Cordell Patterson, I don't care. He really didn't do a whole lot. What do you guys think?
I want to go through these a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Let Najee walk. I'm not a fan of his game. I think he's too slow and stiff. He doesn't move well laterally. Cordell Patterson's the same way. He's old. He's slow and stiff. I think both those guys are gone. Shamplin, I don't really care about. I think we end up taking a running back in like the 2nd or 3rd, and then get one later on in like the 6th because this class is loaded. I think if we can get a guy, a lot of people are projecting us to actually get Janty at 21, so I wouldn't really want that. I think I'd like to get a guy like Cam Scattaboo in the 3rd, Travion Henderson. I've been liking Travion recently. Quinshawn Junkids, Ollie Gordon. I mean, get a guy like that and have him split carries. So that's what I do.
Gordon?
I would agree with what either of you guys said, but I couldn't hear any of it. I'm assuming that we're going to assume
This kid.
All right, receivers. Okay. All right, wide receivers it is.
Wide receivers. Carlin is lagging right now. If he's talking right now, that's crazy. Carlin, if you can hear us, don't be talking right now. You're frozen. Wide receivers. George Pickens is still on the team. He's got one more season left. In terms of free agents, Mike Williams and Van Jefferson are both free agents. I would keep Pickens for one more season at this point. Calvin Austin's still on the team. You keep him. They're really the only 2 cornerstone guys. I mean, there's the legend Ben Skoranek. So, I mean,
No.
Hey, he was going crazy in that Ravens game. Carlin just lagged out completely. That's crazy. I think we'll see if he joins back. I think I've told you this, Dan. I think you draft Emeka Ibuka. I think you draft him in the 1st round, 21st overall pick, Emeka Ibuka. I think he'd be a great compliment to George Pickens. I think you got to go wide receiver in the 1st round. They didn't do it last season, didn't do it the season before. I think you go wide receiver in the 1st round, and he should make an impact. Hopefully, I would go Ibuka. And you got Roman Wilson, too. You got 4 young receivers right there. That's what I would do.
Yep. So this is part of my genius plan. So any of the viewers out there, I want you to listen to this, and I want you to type in the chat if you agree with me or not. All right. I think we got to get Emeka Ibuka with our 1st pick at 21, right? So bring him in. Keep George Pickens around for one more year. right? George Pickens is here for one more year. Let's face the facts. Tomlin's not going anywhere. So I say we can all just say Tomlin's not going anywhere. We give him one last chance. One last chance, or the chance starts. The fire Tomlin chance begin if he starts to blow it. Okay? One last year. Keep George there for Tomlin's last year. And then so you have Pickens, Ibuka. You just texted. Oh yeah, okay. Exactly, yes. You keep Pickens, Ibuka. You have Russell Wilson play. Keep Mike Williams for another year, and then you can go get another guy. But look, once you in 2 years, I know this is 2 years now, but if we get rid of Tomlin and we have a new quarterback in there, I'm telling you, this might sound crazy. This might sound crazy. We as an organization need to face the facts and tank or trade up for Jeremiah Smith in 2 years. I promise you right now, I've watched a lot of receivers in my time. This dude is on a different planet. He's unbelievable. He will be on the same level as Justin Jefferson. I can promise you that. He will be on the same level, and he could be better. This guy is a freak, and if we have receiver problems, this is the guy that you could bring in with a young quarterback and change the whole narrative with a head coach. And I'm telling you right now, it's the same thing that the Bengals did. They had Joe Burrow, and then the next year they got Jamar Chase. It's the same thing. Bring and Emeka Egbuka will be there. You got two receivers who played college ball together with some chemistry. That's a pretty solid foundation to have. I think that's the best thing you got to do moving forward. I really do.
I agree. I think that could be a great path. I honestly think Jeremiah Smith is great. Plus, very young too. He's only going to get better. So, if the Steelers embrace the tank, that is possible. That's a big if, though. Tight end, Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, McCole Pruitt, Connor Hayward. I don't care. I think you're locked in with Freiermuth. I like him. Darnell Washington, I like him. I wouldn't change anything with this group.
Yeah, I like how constant that is. I don't even mind Pruitt that much. He's not that bad,
He's a
but
third string.
yeah, so I'd keep him in there. I don't really understand why we're using him that much. I see a lot of his personnel in the game. I really don't understand why he's playing, to be honest. We have Darnell Washington and Freiermuth. The only reason, in my opinion, why Connor Hayward's on the team is because of his big bro. So I hate let's just say it how it is. I don't think he'd be on the Steelers if Cam Hayward was retired or gone somewhere else. So I don't even really Connor Hayward, he has a lot of effort and a lot of heart. So I could see him staying around. It's not bad.
Yeah. Offensive line. Dan Moore is a free agent. Thank goodness he is a free
Gone.
agent, so we can finally get rid of him. Finally. It took like 3 years to get rid of him. Oh my god. Isaac Salomalo, Zach Frazier, James Daniels, who is a free agent, and then Broderick Jones. For me, for the O-line, I would go.
Look at the chat. Look at the chat.
There's a better chance of Carlin's connection improving than the Steelers ever tanking us. That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Oh my goodness. Okay, but Dan, could you I'm telling you, think about it. That's as crazy as it sounds. Get rid of Tomlin. We're probably not going to have the best season anyways. You trade down or tank. You get Jeremiah Smith. Oh my God, we're back in the ball game. We're back in. Anyways,
that would require a tank, which is not happening. I would go Troy Fautanu, right tackle. I would let James Daniels walk because I think Mason McCormick has potential, so I would let him start. Right guard, Zach Frazier, center, Salomalo, left guard, Broderick Jones, left tackle. Give him a chance at his ideal position, his natural position. I would just go with it. I wouldn't invest a high pick or a huge free agent in the O-line. I don't know. I think you could put your money elsewhere. See what the young guys got, and then move on next season from some of them. That's what I would do.
I agree with everything you just said. I I think give Broderick another year or two at left tackle, see what can happen. Fatanu's coming back, so I'm excited to see him in full form. So hopefully the tackles in their natural position will be good. I like McCormick a lot. Oh gosh, I like McCormick a lot. I like Frazier a lot. Samala, he's been interesting the past couple games, so I'm a little on the fence with him for right now. He was a stud in Philly, but this ain't Philly anymore. So I mean, he's making me question his ability. So I'm gonna keep an eye on him a little bit, but that left guard position might be starting to open up for us.
Yeah, I just don't want the Steelers to waste another first round pick on the O line. I just don't want to see that again. Two
Wouldn't be
straight
surprised.
seasons. Yeah, I can't wait to see another right tackle come in to try to replace Broderick Jones, and then we re-sign Dan Moore.
Oh
Okay,
God.
defense will real quickly. Defensive line, Larry Ogunjobi is not a free agent, but I think next season he will be. I think he's on his last deal. Keanu Ben, Cam Hayward, who Cam Hayward probably had the most effort on that defense against the Ravens. I won't lie. Um, I think you keep Cam Hayward, obviously. He's still going to play. Keanu Ben's great. I would start thinking about the Ogunjobi replacement sooner than later. I've seen some
Yep.
mock drafts drafting a guy in the first round for the D line. Maybe. I still like Ibuka more. I would even take a corner in the first round over D line, but you kind of have to get an option sooner than later. I wouldn't waste the first round pick though. But that Ogunjobi or Hayward replacement has to come sooner than later, I think.
Yeah, Ogunjobi's getting old, man. His time's kind of coming to an end. He's not like you can see he's getting old. So I'd start thinking about a replacement for him. D line's something you got to address here in the draft, whether that's in not in the first, maybe in I'd say the fourth. I'd say get a guy in the fourth. I think that's whenever we took Keanu Benton, anyways. Was it the fourth round? I'm pretty sure it was like third or fourth.
I think he was a bit earlier.
Oh,
I'll verify, but I think he was
but
like
I
round
think
3 at the latest.
Yeah, I think we can get a stud guy in the fourth for sure. So I'd look to get a guy then. It's not as urgent in my opinion as receiver or corner, but it's still something we need to add a piece to. Hayward's getting old as well, so actually it might be a little urgent. Um, so Hayward's getting old, but he still looks sharp. He still looks like the only one who actually has heart out there. So you pay him as much money as you want, keep him around for as long as he wants until he starts to negatively affect the team. But I think he's affecting us in a positive way right now. Um,
Yeah.
Loudermilk, I couldn't care less. And then who
Okay.
else? Are we talking about edge rushers yet? Or are we just doing D
We're
tackles?
we're about to do outside linebackers now and
Okay,
linebackers. All right.
hit it.
Keanu Ben was a second round pick, pick number 49
Hmm,
in
okay.
2023. So we did invest slightly higher in him. Linebackers will start outside. TJ Watt, Highsmith, Nick Herbig. I think Preston Smith is still signed under contract. So he's not listed as a free agent. So we might have him for a full season this go around. Um, I like it. I mean, I would trade Watt, start the rebuild. That's probably not going to happen. So keep Watt. Highsmith's still signed. Herbig's going into his third season. I like the group outside. Inside, Patrick Queen's signed, so you can't really do much about that. I think Peyton Wilson's developing nicely. Landon Roberts is a free agent. I would re-sign him for just the consistency. It's tough with that group, especially Queen. You put a lot of money into him, so I think you kind of just have to trust him in a way. I would keep the whole linebacker group similar how it is. I wouldn't use
Yeah.
huge draft capital or huge amount of money in those positions.
I think the only thing that we really need is more of a will backer. We need a guy that can fall back into pass coverage. Um, we have, I'd say, we have three guys in that inside linebacker position that can hit, that can bring the boom. We got don't even. We got
We
three
bring the
like oh god, we
boom.
got three
That's what
guys
we do.
we got three guys that can lay the hammer down. I mean, I'm just like they can hit, and I think you got to trust those guys at that middle linebacker position. Have a nice little rotation, but you got to get a will backer. You got to get someone that can fall back into pass coverage. Um, I mean, there's all we do is rush an odd front every single time. We barely even send the box. So all we do is really rush our D line. We really don't send the box, and then we trust a Landon Roberts, Patrick Queen, and Peyton Wilson to fall back into pass coverage, and that's why we're getting cooked in the middle of the field.
Yeah,
So I think
they're
we got to
putting a
address that.
I think they're putting a lot of trust in Peyton Wilson. Like, hopefully he can develop
We
more.
need to get a linebacker that can fall back into coverage.
Yeah. Corner, fun position. Dante Jackson is a free agent. Cam Sutton is a free. Actually, wait, is Dante Jackson a free? Yeah, he is. Cam Sutton is a free agent. CJ Henderson is a free. He won't start. I don't care about him. I would let Sutton walk in a heartbeat. Goodbye. Don't want to see you again. Let Beanie Bishop start. I love you, West Virginia legend. Dante Jackson. I think they should invest in corner in round 2. If Ibuka is gone, maybe round 1. I think I'll make an investment there. Joey is the guy, no matter what, going into next season. He's going to have a chance next season. I think it's a huge make or break season for Joey Porter next season. So he'll be there. I think you draft a guy in round 1 or 2 at corner. Let Dante Jackson walk. I think he started to sell near the end of the season, in my opinion. But then again, it's still, I mean, you got Corey Trice, James Pierre. It's a lot of young guys. A lot of young guys that you would have to bank on thriving or not, which is why I would say embrace the tank to give the young guys a chance. That's not happening. I don't know. I would draft a guy, though. Let Sutton and Jackson walk.
I'd let Sutton walk for sure. Start Beanie Bishop at the nickel. I'd keep Dante Jackson for depth purposes because that is something that we have struggled on in this past season is depth. And as much, even though I'm not fond upon him as much. He's still a guy that we've seen play, and if we want him to make a play, he's a 50-50 shot if he's gonna make it or not. But so I'd say re-sign him for a year. Get him back here one more time. I'd say you got to go out and get a corner in the second round. I'm not a fan of Joey Porter. I think he's too handsy, and these officials are going to call that all day, every day. I think he needs to become. I think he needs to keep a physical mindset, but he needs to stop physically being physical. He's grabbing too much. He's holding, and 5 penalties a game is really hurting this team for PI, and especially because it's spotted the foul. So I don't know. He's got to figure his stuff out. This is a big prove it year for him, but I think we got to get a big time corner in the second round. I wanted Nate Wiggins last year, but we didn't end up getting him. But we need to get a guy in the second round this year.
Yeah. Safety position, Minka. If you wanted to embrace the tank, you trade him as well. That's probably not happening at this point. DeMonte Casey is a free agent. I would keep him for depth purposes, I would say. I don't know how they could maybe replicate that production. I don't know. I mean, Deshaun Elliott's the strong safety starter in the depth chart. So, and he's not a free agent from the looks of it. I would keep it. I don't know. I'm not sure the free agent class right now. Maybe you can improve. Like, there are some free agents out there, like even at wide receiver, like Chris Godwin, people like that you could get if you don't want to draft Emeka Ibuka in the first round. So, I mean, that's where it could get interesting. So, like, you could go secondary in the first round if you draft a Chris Godwin, or go crazy, Devontae Adams. You get him somehow. Like, there's a lot of hypotheticals. So, you could invest in the secondary in the first round. But I'm not sure what the free agents are for safety. So, I'd stay conservative at that position with what you got.
Yeah, Deshaun Elliott's an absolute stud, man. I've loved watching him play this year and ball out. So I'm definitely excited to see him next year. Um, Minka had a spark whenever he first came here. I feel like that spark is kind of gone. I'm not really impressed with his game as of recent. I don't really count on him to make any big time plays in games anymore. He was a guy that I look for. Now I see him getting burnt in coverage, split down the middle. Um, I'm not really a fan of Minka. I really am not. But the free safety position is a little thin in the NFL. So I don't really know if it gets much better than him, but maybe getting a guy in free agency, compare and contrast, a young guy in the draft, late in the draft could be good. But I'd say keep him around till his contract's out.
Yeah. Final positions. Chris Boswell's staying. He's incredible. The MVP of the Steelers last season, in my opinion.
Yep.
He's fantastic. Punter. They got Carlos Waitman. Cameron Johnston was on IR. He was the original punter. He got hurt. So maybe they'll do a punter competition, something like that. That's about it position wise. So I think my final thought, I think they should rebuild. They are probably not. This, I think, is going to be a huge year for Mike Tomlin. I think we officially start hearing fire Tomlin chants at home games. Carlin, you better be chanting that if they are sucking. I think this is a huge year. I think if this team replicates this past season, they rebuild. They should. But I think now the fan base is angry. I think the fan base is more angry than they've ever been. I think there are very few Tomlin supporters now than they were at the start of last season. I think there's a lot more pressure on this team. Final thoughts. Carlin, I know you haven't been talking because of lag purposes, but I think you're okay right now. Your final thoughts.
I think so. On the whole team. Oh, jeez. I can't wait to go 10-7, 9-8 next year. It's gonna be great. Theoretically, if Tomlin has a losing season, do you think they would fire him next year if he had a losing season?
I think if they perform the same way as this past season, you fire him. But then again, I don't know what this team will do. I think that's gonna be huge on Omar Khan next season. Like if he doesn't fire Tomlin, if that happens.
Yeah, I feel like everyone just needs to start being like, all right, we need something. Here's the thing, it could be Tomlin, it couldn't be Tomlin, but something has to happen. Whether it's Tomlin goes, Rooney changes something. And my grandfather actually made another point. If Rooney leaves the team, that the team would leave Pittsburgh.
Huh? Well,
that like if the Rooneys don't own the team anymore, then the Steelers would leave Pittsburgh.
I mean, maybe. I don't see
know.
that happening.
But regardless, yeah, I don't see the Rooney selling the team. But regardless, something has to happen. You have to get out of the ears. The media has to get out of the locker room. This team has to do something because I can't think 9-8 anymore. I'd rather have 4-13 for 20 years and then actually have hope to rebuild something in the future.
20 years is a little excessive.
That's a little excessive.
Okay, but would you rather be mid for a couple years than have to find a new head coach and have another job hunt for another
20 years?
20 years is excessive.
We'll be 41. I could not. I'd rather be 10-7 every year.
The Steelers would become a poverty franchise at that point.
I'd rather be 10-7 every year for 20 years than 4-13.
Yeah.
For 20 years.
What could happen if you fire Tomlin?
Yeah.
Couldn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Well, by the time I'm 41, I hope he's not. I hope he's not the coach anymore. So,
Dan Smith, final thoughts on this team?
Yeah, look, let's close it out like this, man. This team's in trouble. I don't even think Tomlin or Omar knows what they're going to do next. I think their hands are tied up. I think their backs are against the wall. They know the fan base is angry. They know that our Rooney ain't going to do anything, so they don't even care about that. But they know that they have some positions to fix. They have some coaches to get rid of and replace. Will they? I guess we'll see. They have a lot of things that they need to do, but it depends if they will get it done. And the thing is that if they don't get it done, then people are going to start calling for their heads, both Omar and Mike Tomlin. So a lot of pressure on them. They need to wake up. A lot of pressure on certain guys, position players this year, offense and defense. A lot of prove-it years for a lot of guys. So they need to lock in, work hard this offseason, and get back to ready for August. The draft is huge for us. And honestly, it's equally as huge as free agency. Free agency might be more important in my opinion. But we have a lot of things to address. And I think as of right now, I think we all can say Tomlin ain't going anywhere. This is his last chance. I want him fired right now. All three of us want him fired. And a lot of fans want him fired as well right now. But I think that we need to just put our hands up and say, this is it. Like, this is the last straw. You get one more shot of 9-8, 10-7, and first round exit. I mean, we're in for a ride. We're in for a ride next year.
We are in for a ride. We are. This is make or break for Tomlin at this point. I don't see it any other way. And we are going to be following the Steelers through the free agent period, through the draft, because football is ending just around the corner. The Super Bowl is coming, college national championships coming. So we're going to be covering the Steelers a lot more on here over the offseason. So stay tuned for that. But I'm going to end the live stream and technically the podcast episode at the same time. So thank you all for listening. Make sure to follow our social media platforms, Instagram, our Twitter /X, our TikTok for hopefully it stays. It could be gone by Sunday. I hope not. Follow that. Follow the YouTube, which we are live on right now. We will do a lot more live streams in the future, probably promote them a lot earlier too, instead of 1 hour in advance. We'll do that differently. Follow our Twitch as well. If we do any gaming content, that is only on Twitch. Every other content for the majority, like podcast stuff, is on YouTube. So follow those. All that is in the link in bio on our link tree. Every link you need is on there. But other than that, thank you all for watching or listening with Dan Smith and Carlin Jacob, who is holding on by a thread with his connection right now. I am John Dodaro. Have a great day, everybody, and see you next time on Inside the Down.
Taper fade.
Whoa, taper fade.
All right, you guys.
hop on.